you a story about a tin soldier. There were 25 tin soldiers once on a time. They were all brothers, for they had all been made out of one old spoon. They had muskets, and they all looked right in front of them. Their clothes were red and blue, and I tell you, they were a fine lot. The first words they ever heard, as the lid was taken off their box, were tin soldiers. A little boy had spoken the words, and he clapped his hands in joy. It was his birthday, and when he had looked at them, he put them on the table. All the tin soldiers were alike but one. There had not been enough tin to finish him, so he had only one leg. But he stood on that as well as the others did on two legs, and this soldier was to be greater than all the other 24. On the table were many toys beside the soldiers, and the best was a paper castle. If one looked in the windows, one could see the hall, and in front of it were some trees, and a lake made of a bit of glass. Wax swans swam on the lake. It was all very pretty, but the sweetest of all was a small lady who stood by the castle door. She was made of paper, but she had a dress of thin lace and a ribbon around her waist, and on the ribbon was a paper rose as big as her face. The little lady held her arms up, for she was a dancer, and she held one leg so high that the tin soldier could not see it at all, and he thought that she had but one leg. She would be just the wife for me, he thought, but she is too grand. She lives in a castle, and I have only a box, and so many of us live in the box. It really is no place for her. But he felt he must know her. He lay down behind the box and watched her all day. There she stood on one leg. She did not seem to get tired at all. At night the toys began to have their fun. They played war, they gave balls soldier stood stiff, and not even an eye winked. The boat turned around 3 times. The water came in. The tin soldier stood up to his neck in it, then it closed over his head. He thought of the sweet lady, and a song came to him as he sang. Farewell, farewell, thou warrior brave, for this day thou must die. The boat broke into parts, and just at that moment a great fish snapped the tin soldier. Well, it was dark in the fish's body, and it was small too. The tin soldier could only lie straight and not turn around. The fish swam to and fro, but before long he was caught on a hook, and then lights shone on the tin soldier, and someone cried, "The soldier!" It was strange, but the cook at the little boy's house had bought the fish, and when she cut it open, she saw the soldier and took him to the room above to show the children. It was the same dear room, and the children and toys, but best of all there was the dancing lady. The soldier almost cried when he saw her, but looked at each other and said not a word. Then one of the boys, without any reason, took the poor soldier and flung him into the fire. I'm sure it was the goblin who made him do it. The soldier stood still in the awful heat. The color of his coat